Welcome to Building Effective Communication. This is the first lesson, being mindful in self and others. I'd first like to introduce myself. My name is Tanya Skanke, and I am currently a student at BYU Pathway Worldwide, studying family and human services. I'm working towards completing my bachelor's degree in December 2026. I have created building military family connections as a passion project. I moved to Iwakuni, Japan in 2023 and currently live on a U.S. military base. My husband works for Doea as a high school Japanese teacher. As I have taken time to get to know the local families, I have seen the difference in family connection and disconnection when it comes to the military. My husband is a military brat and grew up in a house with a strong family connection, despite having his father gone a lot of his childhood. I have taken their example and turned to research and the courses I have taken at school to build this program to help military families build a foundation of connection, budget, and devotion. This is a family life education course created to be a structure and a guideline for families before trials and problems come. This is a preparation for hard times, not a solution to problems that have already arrived. The goal and purpose of this course is to take each lesson 1 week at a time, going through each lesson with your spouse and focusing on each area for a week and building on it in the weeks to come. As we focus on building a foundation of effective communication, financial security, and devotion, we will strengthen our relationships and be prepared when trials and challenges arrive. We'll first start out by watching a 5-minute meditation video.
To begin this mindfulness meditation, just let yourself get into a comfortable position, whatever that looks like for you. When your body feels ready, you may gently close your eyes. With your eyes closed, take a moment to tune inwards. First, simply noticing your body, tuning into the weight of gravity, the points of contact between you and the surface on which you are resting. What else do you notice? What is it like for you to be in your body right now? As you observe this, you simply accept and allow whatever it is you notice, harboring no judgment, just being mindful, noticing what is with a sense of compassion in your heart and letting it be. Continue to do this now with your breath as well as your body. If you haven't already, begin to tune into the sensations of breathing. What do you notice? Just observe, accept, and allow. No judgment. Just letting everything be how it is. As you stay mindful of your breath and your body, with a sense of compassion in your heart. Keeping your eyes closed, you allow your awareness to expand to include the space around your body. It's as if you can sense the air around you, the objects around you, and you just allow them to be as you simply are. There's nothing to do, there's nothing to judge, if your mind wanders, that's okay. Don't judge it. Just return your focus to what is. Being connected to your breath, your body, and your sense of presence in the world around you. You let everything simply be, including yourself. You now begin to let your attention travel back, becoming more and more aware of physical sensations by rolling your shoulders, wiggling your fingers and toes, still being mindful of what is, and taking this present moment awareness with you as you slowly begin to open your eyes back to the world around you. Wonderful job doing this practice. We hope you enjoy the rest of your beautiful day.
I'd like us to take a moment and recognize where our mind went. If you were able to bring it back to focus, was it hard? Was it easy? Were you able to sit for the 5 minutes and get into mindfulness of yourself? Mindfulness is commonly described as an individual's capacity to remain attentive, aware, and accepting of the present moment. Mindfulness is something that we can develop during pain and fear and despair. During times of military or hardship, we can still develop mindfulness. Mindfulness can be beneficial for mental health or separation due to deployment. Being able to be mindful can increase marital adjustments and emotional intelligence. Mindfulness is important and can be used daily for all different walks of life. So, my challenge is to use this 5-minute meditation. And I know that that can be hard when you're deployed or you're being a solo parent while your husband is deployed. So, there is some other 1-minute resets that we can learn about that are there to help us to reset in a shorter amount of time. There's a 4-7-8 breathing reset, or there's a 5-4-3-2-1 sensory grounding. These can both help during high stress moments and can be used in many different areas. We'll first learn about the 4-7-8 breathing.
A 4-7-8 breathing technique. We're going to inhale through our nose to a count of 4. We're going to hold our breath for 7 seconds, it's a little bit longer, and then we're going to exhale very slowly to the count of 8. We'll do this cycle 3 times during our mindful minute to arrive at 1 minute. Let's do it together one time, and then I'll start our stopwatch for our mindful minute. Let's breathe in 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And slowly exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It feels a little unusual. This is a very intentional breathing technique.
We will now go to the 5-4 2.
The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method is a grounding exercise that can help you stay in the moment and avoid negative thinking and worry. You can do this exercise anywhere, at home, at school, in the car, or even in the middle of a crowd. You can do it sitting, standing, or laying down. Counting down from 5, use your senses to list things around you. Make an effort to notice details about these things. This is how to do it. Start by breathing deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Then slowly look at your surroundings. Find 5 things that you can see around you. Maybe you see a colorful poster on the wall, the spider web on the bookshelf, the lamp on the nightstand with the red shade, the cat sleeping peacefully on the chair, the cactus on the dresser that has finally bloomed. Then list 4 things that you can touch. The warm mug in your hands, the soft comforter on the bed, the denim of your jeans, the scratchy carpet under your feet. Next, listen for 3 things you can hear. Maybe the ticking of a clock, the quiet hum of your computer, the sound of traffic from outside. Now try to find 2 things that you can smell. The tea in your mug, the clean scent of your clothes. Finally, list 1 emotion that you feel. This is a way to ground yourself so you can feel present in the moment and in control of your surroundings. Now you try.
So we can take these methods and continue practicing them. And as we do, they will become a minute. I mean, it might take a little bit longer in the beginning, but then as time goes on and as we practice them, they will become shorter and easier for us to do when we are in high stress situations. Mindfulness is a practice that we can use every day. So as we're talking about mindfulness and being mindful, we can also talk about bids for attention. What is a bid for attention? Bids for attention are any verbal or nonverbal attempt by one person to gain the attention, affirmation, affection, or connection of another. When a spouse gives a bid, the other spouse will respond to the bid in one of 3 ways. We can turn away, turn towards, or turn against. Turning towards our spouse is fulfilling the purpose of responding to bids for attention by building up an emotional bank account through small moments over large gestures. Turning away and turning against breaks down the emotional bank account and causes conflict and tension in the relationship. We're now going to watch a video from Gottman Institute explaining bids for attention.
Imagine you hear your partner let out an exasperated sigh. In that fleeting moment, you have a choice. Keep going about your day or ask what's on their mind. These small, daily crossroads may seem insignificant, but the choices you make while interacting with your partner could, over time, make or break your relationship. The sigh is what relationship researchers Drs. John and Julie Gottman would call a bid for connection. Bids can be small or big, verbal or nonverbal. We can choose to turn towards our partner in these moments and accept their bids, or turn away from them and ignore their bids. The Gottmans have spent the last 4 decades studying thousands of couples to answer the question, what separates the relationship masters from the relationship disasters? They found a critical difference in how each type of couple responds to bids for connection. In these moments, masters turn towards each other 86% of the time. Disasters turn towards each other only 33% of the time. A tendency to turn towards your partner forms the basis of trust, emotional connection, passion, and a satisfying sex life. When couples break up, it's usually not because of big issues like conflict or infidelity. More often, it's a result of the resentment and distance that build up over time when partners continually turn away from bids for connection. So take a page from the Relationship Masters Playbook. Notice when your partner makes a bid. Show interest. Ask questions. Nod. Listen, and put away your screens. Choose to turn towards your partner.
So, where are we seeking connection? Are our bids being answered? How are we responding to bids? How can we respond to bids even though we are part due to deployment? Those are a couple of questions that you can discuss with your spouse. You can pause the video and discuss with your spouse. Couples who turn towards one another frequently, over 80% of the time, will build a basis of trust and have an increased satisfaction in other areas of their marriage, such as sexual intimacy. We're going to watch another short video, just really expressing that importance of turning towards one another.
One of the best predictors of whether your relationship makes it or not, according to decades of research by Drs. John and Julie Gottman, was how you both responded to each other's bids for connection. Now, happy couples turn towards each other's bids on average of 86% of the time, versus couples who were unhappy or split up, one or both partners only turned toward the other 33%. Okay, so what is a bid for connection? It's an attempt for closeness. It's an invitation for connection with our partner. Sometimes it's a direct question. Hey, I'd love for you to do this thing with me. But most of the time, it's subtle. Our partner says, oh, I have to tell you about my day today. And we say, oh yeah, what happened? Without even looking up from our phone. And when we do that, we miss their bid. Now, why is that a big deal? Because it wouldn't have taken much to turn towards them and put our phone down and just listen for a few minutes and mirror whatever emotions that they're experiencing, right? And if we did that, then we would add to their emotional bank account with us. But instead, we just made a withdrawal. And whether that was unintentional or not, it doesn't matter. The result is still the same. And in the vast majority of relationships that end, it's rarely one thing out of the blue that ends things. It's usually a buildup of hundreds of withdrawals over time. So what's the lesson here? Start intentionally looking out for your partner's bids for connection and then move towards them in a way that builds trust and connection instead of breaks it.
So as we take time to seek or notice those bids for attention and respond to them, we will be able to build our relationships up and really build that trust and that understanding and grow together. This is just a list of different emotional connections, minor ones that Dr. John Gottman gave out as an example of how to pay attention, responding to simple requests, helping, sharing the events of your daily life, responding to questions about your job or at your work, being affectionate, playing with your kids, just little things that we can do each day to notice that can make a huge difference in our connection. Now I'd like us to look at a couple examples of turning away, an example of turning away, and an example of turning towards. One example of turning away is called cognitive dissonance. And this is a contradiction between your moral self and your actions. And when we live in this cognitive dissonance, we feel that we have to justify our reasoning with blame. And this is the example that I have to share, is that a young father woke up in the middle of the night hearing his baby cry. And he thought, okay, I'm going to go help the baby quickly, soothe him, won't wake up my wife. And felt that natural like charity towards her, to want to help. But then he didn't do it. He was tired. His bed was warm. He had a long day of work and he needed the sleep because he had to go back to work the next morning. The baby kept crying louder and louder, and he started wondering, why isn't my wife getting up to take care of him? Doesn't she care? Doesn't she know that he works all day and she's at home with the baby and can take a nap? Doesn't she know that he is a breadwinner and that he needs his rest and that the baby is making it impossible for him to sleep? Now he's going to be tired at work. Why doesn't she appreciate him for the work that he does for the family? Why is she so lazy? Why isn't she waking up? This is how we can see that he had a desire. He changed that, and then he decided that he was more comfortable where he was. But then, as being comfortable, he became uncomfortable and became angry, and turned away from her. She was tired. She was sleeping. And instead of responding to the baby's bid of crying, he decided to turn away from the baby and in essence, turn away from his wife and hold on to that anger. An example of turning towards each other can be a husband coming home from work and sitting on the couch and taking a big deep breath and feeling, just kind of seeming like just a little overwhelmed. The wife comes and sits down next to him and asks how best she can help. She knows that he might not be able to share everything that he is going on at work. That's very common in military. And even my husband being a teacher, it's very common that he can't share everything at work, right? And so the husband reaches out, grabs her hand, and shares what he can about work and the stress that he's feeling. And the wife listens, holds his hand, and doesn't try to fix or interrupt. And in the end, the husband thanks his wife for listening. That is turning towards being intentional, being mindful of your spouse, and taking the time. As we go through these different conflicts in our lives, different moments that we can feel a conflict arising, there's two different conflict mindsets. There's a creative conflict mindset and there's a destructive conflict mindset. The creative conflict mindset is characterized by a loving growth approach to conflict in general, a capacity to see conflict partners as people, a clarity of vision regarding the nature of the conflict, and a strong preference for collaboration, so wanting the change. Destructive conflict mindset is characterized by fear or apathy for conflict in general. It's an inclination to see conflict partners as objects and a strong tendency for self-deception and collusion. So as we think about mindfulness and as we think about bids for attention, we can also recognize conflict. And sometimes during those bids, conflicts arise or is there already. And how are we responding to this conflict? the biggest thing that affects what kind of mindset we have when we are responding to those bids or responding to that conflict is the I thou or I it split. It's seeing your spouse or your kids as a person or seeing them as an object. When we respond to bids for attention, we pay attention to how we are seeing the person. We are recognizing when we're seeing them as we recognize that we're seeing them as individuals that we love and want to serve, compared to those times when we're seeing them as objects and responding by turning away, building the conflict, breaking the trust. So throughout all of these things that we learn, there's some practices and activities that you can take with you this week. I would really like you to take 5 minutes 3 times this next week to practice a 5-minute mindful meditation. You can take the video, it's linked in the blog, and or just look up a 5-minute mindfulness meditation video and practice it 3 times a week. Again, if you don't have that time, go back and practice that 4, 7, 8, and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 resets that we also reviewed, and try those. Try to do that every day or 3 times a week. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll become with it and the changes you will see with it. I also want you to know, in a journal for the next 7 days, I want you to write down the bids that you've noticed throughout the day and how you responded. Did you turn away? Did you turn towards? Did you turn against? And kind of review those and try to make adjustments as you've gone throughout your day and into the next days. I know that during deployment or separation, families, it can be hard to respond to bids. It's a little bit different. There's videos and voice responses that we can do. There's unimportant random daily photos or daily texts that we can send to our spouses that just kind of helps them to be a part of our lives when we're not together. It's not always important to send it is important to send the big moments, but it's more important to send those daily things. Those little responses and connections can really build up that feeling of home when they're gone. If there is an outage due to deployment, due to travel, instead of saying that day you turned away or turned against, it's actually just a technological logic barrier that's there. And so you can write that down on your bids. And during times of solo parenting, without the ability to connect to your spouse, the 7-day bid assessment can be used with your kids. Responding to their bids gives us practice for when our spouses return. Thank you for attending this course. Again, all of this stuff is up on the blog as well, to go back and review or check out the different references that were used, and to review throughout your week on how to build this mindfulness in yourself and with your spouse and your kids in your life. Thank you.